Today we're also going to talk about the emerald ash borer, which many of you have seen the damage and the reports and all the trees being cut down in our community and communities across the Midwest and the Northeast in the United States. If you look over to my left, this tree over here is an ash tree. It's a young ash tree, and if you really kind of look real closely, the scaling of the bark, and that's where the emerald ash borer had its larva. And the woodpeckers have come by and they started to root underneath the bark and get into that cambium layer of the tree. And you can see the damage, how it's affected the tree. It slowly kills the tree. It's just almost like strangling it. And if you ever take a walk through the state park, you'll be able to see the massive damage it has done through there. The vast majority of the trees that are in there are ash trees, and almost all of them are infected and a lot of them are dead until we find a natural defense or of some sort of disease or anything else that will come to limit the ash borers. I mean, after a while it's going to exhaust its food supply, and kind of like Dutch elm, it'll be one of them things that will hopefully go back into our past. The other thing I'd talk about, another pest, two pests that we have going through the Midwest right now, which in Iowa here is the gypsy moth, and actually it has been located in this area. You've actually seen probably the planes and advertisements on TV that they're treating areas for gypsy moth. The other pest is called the lanternfly, which is not here yet, and it really only affects mostly fruit trees and fruit vines and stuff. But if you ever have a suspect of an infestation problem of insects or disease, please call the tree board. If we can't find an answer for you, we will find somebody who can. A misconception people have about ash trees, and you look at this one here, you can tell there's leaves on it, and there's actual leaves coming on a lot of our trees here in town out of the lower crown of the tree. And a lot of people think, oh, that tree's still alive yet. The problem is these insects get into that inner layer of the tree, and the tree knows it has something going wrong with it, so it's trying to counteract of this infestation. So it's making sprouts to come out of the tree, and it limits the sap going to the upper parts of the tree. These sprouts come out, so you see suckers and stuff that we call suckers, or small little branches that offshoot out of the tree, and you'll have them usually in the center part of the tree. It looks alive, but it's not. It's the tree slowly dying. We've seen the progression. What the professionals have told us right now is 2 to 5 years before we see a total death of a tree from infestation. We're looking at right now, it's about 1 to 3 years in our community right now. So we're taking steps to rectify that. The reason why you're taking these steps to rectify that problem is liability reasons, especially for the property owner and also for the city. If you have a damaged or diseased tree, you're starting to see litigation going through the proper channels, that people are going through the court system, suing municipalities, suing private owners because the branches either come down on their property, on privately owned vehicles, on their houses, or instances where people are being killed. So it is strongly, strongly recommended if you have a diseased or a dying tree that you act on it promptly if you receive a letter from the authorities or from the city. Once you identify you think there's something the matter with your tree, the next channel is contact somebody that can give you more information. Tree professional, you can call the tree board. If you receive a letter or something, we'll come to your house, explain what your next steps should be. We look right now if we have the typical thing that happens right now in our community. If we have ash borer infestation, we'll contact you. We'll come. If you have questions about it, we'll say, here's your step. The first step will be try to find yourself a licensed and bonded contractor or somebody's tree removal to come. They can take a look at it and work it in within their schedule to try to get it out of there. I know a lot of people say it's not cheap, and it's not cheap. It's just one of the joys of owning a tree and tree care. You can see our backdrop of our beautiful park. At one time, all these trees are in kind of various disrepair, and it's things we've taken care of over the years. But if you've got any questions, you can contact City Hall, and they'll get a hold of us. Or if you want to contact us in person, ask us any questions. We're by means no experts, but we'll try to answer your questions. We can't find an answer, we'll go find somebody who can.